Hello and welcome to Adventures in Venueland, an EAMC podcast. This is your all-access pass to go backstage and behind the scenes with some of the brightest minds that cross the scope of the live entertainment industry. I'm Dave Rettelberger.
And I'm Paul Hooper. We'll introduce you to some of our favorite people as we dive deep into the world of live touring shows and the venues that host them.
Today's adventure takes us to New England's largest sports and entertainment arena. TD Garden, it's home of the storied NHL's Boston Bruins, the Boston Celtics, and over 3.5 million people a year since they opened up in 1995. And we're going to talk today with their Senior Director of Marketing and Communications there at TD Garden, Tricia McCorkle. How you doing?
Hi, friends. It's so nice to see you.
It's nice to see you. It's been a while since we've had the chance to see you face to face, but wanted to just kind of talk to you about, you've been there at TD Garden for a while. So tell us the current, state of events and state of how things are going out there.
I have. I'm one of those people who started here when they were 12. So I've been here for 17 years, believe it or not. And you'll have to let me know if my Boston accent gets too much. Please stop me. I started here in 2006. Crazy, but it's kind of been a couple full circle experiences for me. I was the publicity coordinator when I started here at the TD Garden. I was hired to promote the family shows, which some of us have been there and done all these. I know Paul has. Ringling Brothers Circus. We used to walk the elephants all the time. Harlem Globetrotters and Disney on Ice. That literally was my first job around here, was just the PR for those family shows. I was able to, just pick up some more experiences along the way. Was promoted to the Director of Communications on the TD Garden side. And then a couple years later, picked up the marketing as well. So right now I have a team of 10 and I oversee the marketing, communications, and creative teams for the TD Garden.
Tricia, it was once a rite of passage, but kids today that are listening, and I say kids, I mean, people who've not been at their venues for over a decade, have no idea the challenge and joy of doing an elephant walk. So would you please explain for those people who've never heard of it? Because for those of us who've been around, it was a rite of passage for
Absolutely.
So many years. But what was the elephant walk back in the day?
It's one of those experiences that's a great conversation at the bar, because you can just pull out your phones and Google elephants, Boston, and just see them marching down the street. So the train from the Ringling Brothers Circus traveled across the country. It pulled into Cambridge. And then we had to work with Boston police and everyone else to shut down the streets, shut down very iconic Memorial Drive along Boston's Charles River, and literally walk the elephants to the arena. And it was one of the most amazing experiences of all time. A little crazy now that you think back on it, but it was pretty amazing. To tell them that you had to walk the elephants today was incredible.
It was a great news story, but it sounds like it's from a different time, right?
Totally.
Of like they pulled into town on a train. It seems like it was 100 years ago, but really it wasn't that long ago.
You're absolutely right. I know. We'd always have the helicopters up above us and shooting the great video that day, and try to keep up with an elephant too. You were walking very fast.
Plus, they would always smash those watermelons and eat all the
that was our other favorite event.
Loaves of bread and everything. It was great.
Lunch in the North End.
Crazy.
We took them for 2 walks that week. Mm-hmm.
So as Senior Director of Marketing and Communications, what does that mean? And especially, obviously with the other teams that are in the building, what's your role and kind of what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. My quick pitch that I always tell my friends and family is we have 2 amazing teams here, the Boston Bruins and the Boston Celtics. I work for the TD Garden. So they have their own PR and marketing teams, and they're fantastic. And I get to work alongside them, but I also get to do all the fun stuff. So here at TD Garden, we have over 50 concerts this year, which is insane. That's a record-breaking number for us. When we started, I was like 12 to 18 every year. So we have a lot of events that we're working to help promote. And then if you haven't been to Boston in a while, you got to come, because the TD Garden, when I started, was a concrete box. It was the best arena experience in town, as it always is. But It has expanded into an entertainment district at this point. So we call it the Hub on Causeway. Delaware North partnered with Boston Properties, and they really just built out. It was like the TD Garden was built 6 inches away from the old Boston Garden. The stories are remarkable, and you can Google those pictures as well. And then finally, the old Boston Garden was knocked down, and literally, I'm sitting in an office tower that's grown from that space. So it's the Hub on Causeway has been a really unbelievable project that I've been able to be part of. So in addition to, running the events and selling the events, running the newsroom is what I call it here around TD Garden, selling premium tickets, making sure those marketing campaigns are out there and about and doing well, but also the Hub on Causeway experience. So it's full entertainment district. We have another concert venue out front. It's called Big Night Live. It's a smaller venue, 1,500 capacity in there. There's a grocery store.
Cool.
The biggest grocery store in Boston is in our basement almost. Star Market, which is amazing. We go for lunch all the time. We run Hub Hall. It's another amazing food experience out there. There's over 18 vendors that everyone stops in for dinner before an event. There's a hotel. There is the office tower, like I talked about. Verizon is the anchor here with 17 floors. I'm on floor 14. The Celtics are below us on floor 12. And the Bruins share the space with us here. So there's a lot going on. So between the events that are, the core business of the arena, also just making sure, that was so exciting to me is I was doing regular, PR marketing for all these events. That's what I loved. And then they came to me and was like, what about this construction PR? And how do you say no? This whole development has been a game changer in the city of Boston. The Jacobs family just had this vision for it, and it's changed the face of Boston. So I've been able to, from 2016 when we announced it and did the ribbon cutting to the hard hat tours, bringing the media in and really just laying out the story and this investment that this family's put in here. It's been amazing, and it's been a wacky ride too, because we opened in 2019, right when the world shut down.
Right.
So
everyone
we've all
come
had,
in. Wait, everyone pause. Yeah.
We all have these crazy stories about that time, but it was ridiculous. We, had the big confetti day, as we call it, had the mayor down and really started to open up all the pieces of this puzzle, and then the world shut down. But then we were able to come back, as we always do. It's bigger and better than ever. The events, like at the TD Garden, have never been more. At the Big Night Live out front, they've never had more events. It's just bustling. It's just a different, neighborhood and core of Boston. So you really have to come and see it. The Hub on Causeway is it's a game changer down here. It's connecting the North End, the West End. And it's been fantastic for the community too. Just these bars and restaurants. We also run Banner's Kitchen and Tap, which is an amazing restaurant right out front. They have the biggest TV in New England. So it's incredible. It's 2
How big
stories
is
high.
the biggest TV in New England?
It's 2 stories high. The restaurant is unbelievable. And our events are sold out these days. And we're in playoffs right now with the Celtics still. They're coming back for Game 5 tomorrow. But if you can't get a ticket, you want to be at Banners because you're here. You're at the heart of it. The TD Garden's the heart of the city, and you can be at the restaurant out front. And the atmosphere in there, the electricity, they have their rally towels going. It's everything. It's an extension of being at the arena. And we're very proud of just all the projects and progress that we've made down here.
What is it like? I mean, I think we are seeing this become, I guess, a little more common in certain markets where there is more of this district mentality and having restaurants involved and having it be even extending the atmosphere beyond just the arena, because there are a finite amount of seats in there. And it's, if you're in a playoff game or something like that, you want people to be able to come down, whether they have a ticket or not, and really be in the thick of it. But what's it like going from marketing arena events and marketing an arena building to now being involved with restaurants and hotels and districts and things that are maybe, I'm sure marketing is marketing to some degree, but also it's got to be very interesting to have different puzzle pieces you can play with. And how do you maybe collaborate between those areas?
It totally is. It's really made this area a destination, is what we always say, because you want to come down early. Throughout the playoffs, they've shut down the street, across the street, Canal Street, and open it up to the fans. So it's just more pedestrians out there. There's a Harpoon Brewery, the local beer, set up like a beer garden out there. And then just the electricity around the garden, like you just want to be with the fans. So people come early, you're getting your merch at the pro shop, you're walking around with the fans. There's a DJ going on out there. The electricity is just everything that gets you pumped up. And it's really helped the entire neighborhood. The restaurants across the street are benefiting from it because it's just rising tides lifts all ships around here. So it's really incredible. And then just working with all the different properties in the Hub on Causeway, like, Hub Hall downstairs, like they're like, we have to get all of our workers in the Bruins shirts and the Celtic shirts for each of the game nights. So can we put it in order with the pro shop? Like, fantastic. We want this whole place to kind of bleed green, bleed black and gold. So helping out with that kind of stuff, there's no struggle now. You used to have to say like, what restaurant should I go to when I get down there? I'm like, you got the pick of the litter. We got Momo-san downstairs. It's Chef Morimoto's like famous, Japanese cuisine down there. It's unbelievable. Hub Hall's got 18 different vendors. You can get in and out of there for a slice of pizza, have a beer. Yeah. Banner's Restaurant, if you get here early, because that place is going to be packed, that's the place to go. It's just, the whole experience is just awesome. Yeah, and to be able to promote, like before it was kind of like, you got dinner somewhere in town, came down for an event, and then left. And now you kind of hang out, you stick around. You can stay at the hotel overnight now. Yeah, like we didn't have that before. Like that's the game changer.
Tricia, you mentioned, as we're recording this, the Celtics are in the playoffs. And we were watching a game at home the other night, and my son says to me, the Celtics are the only team that really should get to use green on the court, right? Because it's so iconic. So I wonder, because you mentioned, obviously you've got the Bruins colors as well. So how as a building do you balance being this iconic building for two iconic teams and colors that are so vibrant? That's
a good point. So we are the arena with the most championship banners in the country. Right?
Humble brag.
So we thrive off of that. I mean, we're the proud home of the Bruins and the Celtics. And we just had a new naming rights deal with TD. So TD signed on for another 20 years this year. I mean, everybody wants to be part of this. But to your point about colors and things like that, like we navigate that really well with both of the teams here. And we've got such a great partnership with all the teams. The Bruins and Celtics logos are matching on the exterior window that looks over 93. We share signage even in the hub entrance as you come in. We work with both marketing teams to make sure we've got kind of even play out there. There's a lot of times that we do welcome to the playoffs, and how lucky are we in Boston that's both teams. Not many arenas can say that, and we're so lucky to be able to do that. And we're so lucky that those are the conversations that we're having, is like, how do we share this space? How do we promote just being the proud home of these two iconic, legendary teams? Yeah, there's just so many pieces. The Celtics parquet is just legendary. It's just
parquet. That's right.
Yes. I know. I see some of the other ones. I'm like, not as cool. Ours is awesome.
So, when you are, there in Boston, obviously, there's a lot of stuff happening. And one of the things that I'm intrigued by is I see you guys are doing some Latin shows. Now, you don't necessarily think of Boston as a Latin market. Is this something new for you? You guys been in the Latin market for a while?
It is kind of, it's trending up for sure. We've had a couple of Latin shows over the past couple of years, but I think we have 3 this year, which is fantastic. It's just the energy in here is amazing. It's unmatched. So yeah, that's been a different marketing angle. We're definitely, starting to write some of our emails in Spanish, having them both in English and Spanish, and working on some of the signage around here. But yeah, it's a big demo here in Boston and the New England area too. So we're so excited, as TD Garden's just such a community center. We want everyone in here, like everyone in here to just kind of experience the magic. So we're thrilled. Like I said, 50 shows this year, like that's unheard of. And it's just busy. Everyone's glad to be back and hanging out together, aren't we? Like,
no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Glad the market, everything's rebounded so strongly. You talked about, you mentioned writing the emails in Spanish. So that's something that I think a lot of marketers right now are, trying to figure out the best way to do this. Right. And so I'm wondering, how did you guys tackle that from your side?
Yeah, we work with the promoters a lot to make sure that we're getting all the right assets and that we're like really just speaking to the audiences that we should be. And we have a lot of in-house Like I love for any show, you can find the number one fan from Blink 182 and they'll come and help you with a copy or the back of house gifts because they know it a little bit more than maybe you do. But same thing with Romeo Santos. Like we ask around and see who's the number one fan and like really kind of incorporate them into some of our meetings. It's been so helpful. Like use the in-house experts that you have.
I loved the Blink 182 welcome. I saw the photo on social where they went into the locker room and they got like a custom shirt that was like their logo, but with what was it, the Boston area code or something on it? And then they had, of course, like the jerseys and stuff, but even seeing both jerseys too, like I think, like you said, you're fortunate and you have this market with two iconic teams. So sometimes the jerseys feel a little overplayed in some markets, but when you walk into that and you see a Celtics jersey and a Bruins jersey and this custom shirt, it was a very cool look.
No, thank you.
And you all have done custom banners, didn't you, in the past that I've seen where you do like a replica championship banner, but it's got the artist name on it and it kind of ties into that. So, I mean, I love that.
Oh, I'm so glad you see this stuff. No, that's exactly it. So
I follow.
Yeah, we lean into most championship banners in the country, and why wouldn't you? So we give each act their own championship banner, and as you know, it works well for a trade shot and things like that. But they're always thrilled to have it. Like you're included amongst the banners, and you are one of our banner moments. Like every act should get those, and so it's been great. And like I said, I'm working with like the best team right now. The comms, marketing, creative, like just really come together for these gifts. It's a new part of the business line is really to welcome these artists and make sure they remember Boston and they want to come play again. So we've done some really incredible custom gifts for the artists. And like at the end of the day, your meetings about the Blink 182 gifts, we have the best jobs going. Like,
yeah, right. No kidding.
Like my boss, Jen, she always says we're not selling widgets, and no offense to those selling widgets, but man, are we having fun around here. And we work our tails off like anyone does. But yeah, we get to have a lot of fun.
You mentioned your team there. So tell me about your marketing team. Let's give some shout outs.
Yeah, totally. So it's a team of 10, like I said. So the creative team has 4. Mark Majewski leads that team, and he also does the Boston Bruins creative, as well as his team, Jordan, Carly, and Bish. And they're the best in the league too, I'd say, for the NHL. So their stuff is pretty amazing, but they also help us manage the TD Garden in-house brands. That's everything from our premium seating locations, TD Garden as it is, and just all of our assets, everything that goes out of this company on social, email, the signage in the building, like they touch. So those guys are the best in the biz. And then our marketing team, Mackenzie right now, we're looking for a marketing manager. She's fantastic. She is she's just fueled by the stuff and all the fun stuff of a gift and stuff like that. So she comes up with the most creative things. So we're so lucky to have her. And then the comm side of Meg and Courtney, they're the ones who handle all of the PR, the communications that go out, and the social media. Because as you know, I mean, I say it all the time, we run a newsroom around here. The TD Garden in Boston, the amount of news that comes out of this building, we fill 4 pages of the Boston Globe every day, right? Like there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on every day. My background is in news. And that's why I love this place so much too, is just because I feel like I'm still managing the newsroom. So yeah, this team is the best in the biz. And so lucky to come to work with them every day. And, my boss, Jen Compton too, I've been here with her for 17 years. She's pushing 20 now, but you find good company and you stick around with them. And that's what I always tell the interns and people who are, looking for an informational interview. Find the people around you who fuel you, who make coming to work every day fun. And like I said, work your tail off, but if you're having fun along the way, it's the best job in the biz for sure.
I wonder if you could kind of speak to the history of sports in Boston. So I love that you mentioned how close the Boston Garden, former Boston Garden, was to the TD Garden, and in Boston, the Garden, which is not to be confused with the Madison Square one, but right. the more one with the Boston accent on it. But It seems like sports in Boston are maybe tied together more than any other city I can think of almost in the country. Like other people really are into their teams, but I've been fortunate to go to Boston once, and I went to a Bruins game, and it was very passionate. I loved it. It was kind of exactly what I would expect it to be, but I feel like Boston and sports is kind of this unique blend where the people there, it is like their lifeblood, and it's like they're it's not even like loyalty. It's like this how they were raised and how, it's like
the religion.
Loyalty is like underselling it. Yes, like a religion is maybe more appropriate. And it's got to be a fun, fortunate place to be in, and that you've got these people that are just so loyal,
passionate.
And tied to the brand.
The tattoos. Everyone's got a story. Their dad took them in the Boston Garden, and I was here for that event. Do you remember the cigarette smoke? There was no AC at that event. The visiting locker rooms never had hot water. Like, that's the lure of the Boston Garden. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. Everyone's got a story about it. I actually was never at the Boston Garden. But my brother and my dad came to like the last Bruins game here, and like just everyone's got a story. But it's in our blood. We're just so lucky to have that. Yeah, everyone's just got a story. Everyone wants to tell you their story, their favorite event here at the TD Garden too. But no, I'm so lucky. So that's what I was going to say to you. So I started here when I first got the job here. Beyond the Bruins and Celtics, I mean, they were terrible teams when I started. I'm not going to lie. And so my father had said to me, like, can you get tickets to the Beanpot? And I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's a college hockey tournament around here that, again, is just these are just iconic events that happen at the Boston Garden and happen at TD Garden.
Boston colleges, right? They all kind of do
BC, BU, Harvard, and Northeastern. And I was like, really, that's what you want tickets for? But like that stuff's in their blood. That's what they grew up going to. And we're so proud of events like that. Like Beanpot's one of my favorite events of the year. And I will tell you too, we've made big strides. We're inviting the women's teams in next year. So we're having the women's Beanpot Championship, which is awesome. Cool. Like, I'm just proud of this place. I'm proud to work here. I'm proud of the work that we do in the community and how we're, and just inclusive and bringing everyone in, and just having the best time.
Tricia, you mentioned your background was, kind of news. And I love that idea of being a newsroom. But you graduate from Emerson College and you go into TV for a little while before you then head over to TD Garden. Talk to me about your time in TV and kind of how you got that first job. Yeah,
totally. So one of my full circle moments was, graduated Emerson College, went to work at Channel 5 locally around here as ABC, was working at the news desk here, and actually worked a little event that came to Boston called the Democratic National Convention. So in 2004, the entire city shut down, and, this is where we date ourselves, but John Kerry was running for president. Wow, and I was working for ABC. So I was in the Fleet Center, which is our old name. So I was here working, never thinking that this is where I'd end up. But I remember standing out on the arena floor throughout the convention. It was just an amazing event, an event that took over the city, not only the Fleet Center. And standing there on the floor, and this guy with a very unique name took to the podium, and he gave a speech that the whole room kind of went silent and stared at. And later that night, I went home and told my mom that I saw this guy. He had a funny name. It was Barack Obama. So he spoke there. Yeah. So I saw him. So just, worked here for that. That was unbelievable. And then I was at the news desk. So running the assignment desk is so much fun. It is the craziest job. And I try to tell interns and PR people to get into a newsroom because it is the best way to learn how the world works. We were listening to the police scanners, the fire scanners. We were getting, there was beepers at the time, guys. But the messages were coming in from, boots on the ground and sending out the reporters and the photographers to the stories that you thought was visually good, needed to be told, all the stuff that made it to the news that night. It was one of the most stressful jobs I had, but I loved it. And you also start to learn things about like, okay, Monday morning, their schedules are actually kind of full because there's a lot of court dates that happened over the weekend. But what I mean is that helped me in my PR capabilities because I understood when they could use a story, what visuals they needed to send someone out to get it, like what interviews they needed to provide. So I loved that job so much. And I saw the publicity coordinator job, and I've never taken a PR class in my life. my degree is in TV video. So, I have a lot of interns too that come in and say like, hey, I'm looking at going for my master's in PR. And unfortunately, I have to tell them, I've never taken a PR class in my life. It's just real world experience. I think
you live it.
You live it. And so I didn't know this is where I was going to end up, but it's been, switching from media to PR, that was like going to the dark side. Like people were like, oh, well, that sounds terrible. Like, but it was a great opportunity for me. And that's how I sold it. I remember, Jim Delaney is one of those guys that's Arena Hall of Fame. He hired me here and he was like, you don't do PR. Why would I hire you? I said, because I know how the newsroom works. I answer the phone calls from these PR knuckleheads all over town, and I could do this better than them. Like, I know I can. And so that's how I started.
What really a pitch. That's great.
Creating events for, Cinderella
PR
and stuff
knuckleheads.
Like that. Yeah. It's my Boston slang. But then I working here at the TD Garden, like they own the team. The Jacobs own the Boston Bruins. So I remember just like there was offices that were separated by a door. Our marketing team sat on one side and the Bruins marketing team sat on the other. And I kept opening the door. And I kept saying, hi, guys, just checking in to see what you guys are up to. And it was siloed. It was it was just like an old school, like it was just siloed. And I started working with those guys a little bit more. And they would say to me, hey, you got a lot of cameras for that Cinderella event. I got this new player. His name is Patrice Bergeron, and he's doing a PR event. Do you think he can help? And I was like, yeah, I can. So, he was taking a kid, and I've told Patrice this story. He's going to be a Hall of Famer too, one of our best players. He was an auction item, right? So it was take your kid in a limo to school with Patrice Bergeron. And I put it out as a press release and everything. And every camera showed up. I didn't even go to the event, but every camera showed up and they came back and they're like, Trish, everyone was there. I was like, guys, this is a story. This is how you do it. Like, so that helped me. That was like big opportunities. And that helped out the Bruins for a bit. And then I've just been able to, a lot of hard work and a little bit of luck, been able to open some new doors around here. But I do going full circle again, back to the managing the newsroom. Like, I had to bang on some doors and get into some meetings because things would happen that I would hold my hand up like, did we tell anyone about that? That's amazing. Like just from the little things, guys, like we had ushers who had been here for 50 years. And I'm like, that's a story. You imagine the stories that this guy can tell from being at the old Boston Garden to being here. Like, let's do some like PR around the team behind the teams. And we still do that to this day. But even just like, oh my God, the usher found someone's wedding ring, like, 3 hours after the event, they were still looking. That is so kind. Guys, that's a story. Let's tell that story. And then, those are just the feel-good people stories. But then it was also just our business lines and stuff we were doing. I was like, guys, that's another story. Like, you had to come in with the news lens and really just want to tell these stories. And, I'm going off on these tangents. Sorry, guys.
No, it's good.
But so for PR marketing, like back in the day, we used to fax press releases, right? Like we would, you sent out the press release, you had like the local TV, radio, and print, and that's what you did. And it's all shifted to social media and to influencer marketing and everything like that. So I've really had to be along this ride of like, I remember going to my boss and being like, I started the Instagram account for TD Garden. And she's like, I don't think we need that.
Right.
And she'll say it to this day.
See your face.
She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, no, I think we do. I think like there's enough going on around here. So we had to shift our focus from those regular channels. I still read a hard copy newspaper every day and I watch the 6:00 news, but I am an anomaly. I know that, Right. So now you have to really shift into what are the new channels that everyone's watching and listening and getting their information from. And so, we pride ourselves around here. Boston is number 3 in social media, like behind Staples Center and Madison Square Garden. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Those are two amazing.
For now.
We might catch up, but those are two amazing, iconic venues that we are happy to, be in company with. But really, like, we had to focus our efforts on like we own our own channels now. So, maybe Channel 5 doesn't come and cover our event, but we are. And that might be more exposure than the news station. So it's still managing a newsroom around here, and that's what I really love. Yeah, I said team behind the teams because even during these playoffs, we go around and we pick up an employee every night and give them like 3 stories on our Instagram and just tell them how long they've been here, what's their favorite memory, and what they do. And like people are so excited, and they should be highlighted because people put blood, sweat, and tears into this place too. Like we know that, and we're very lucky. But there's a lot of effort that goes into making like the event day experience great for everyone, and that's what we're really proud of around here. And so it's nice to be able to just promote all these great stories.
I think you bring up a great point about how sometimes operations sided people are so focused on doing a good job, and they're not as always focused about telling people about the great work they're doing. Or they might even think, oh, well, if we're telling people, then it's kind of conceited or something. And so it is this funny thing where sometimes there's all these hidden nuggets of like amazing work that staff are doing that you just have to like, what do you mean you've been doing this for 15 years? That's incredible. And I just need to, I need to like tell media about this. Like this is an amazing PR piece, and they just don't even think about it. So I love that it really is kind of identifying often the things that are already there.
And it helps your brand. It just personalizes your brand so much more. People want to know that, you have feelings. There's real people who work here too. We have 2 of the best stories going around here is our Boston Bruins anthem singer, national anthem singer, Todd Ingwilly. He works as a bartender in one of our premium spaces. So he goes down, he sings the national anthem, he goes upstairs, he changes, and then he reports to work. Like it's the best story going. Yeah. But like it's not until you're just like you have to pull back the curtain a little bit and say, wait. That's amazing. And another story we have is John Grislick. He's been on our bowl gang. The bowl gang is the crew that changes over the ice to the parquet. Every event. In Boston, we call him the Bowl Gang. He's been on the Bowl Gang, I think, for 40 years. Gosh, he'll kill me if it's more than that, but it could be more. And his son is a Boston Bruin. Like, what?
Wow, that's so cool.
He's worked here for 50 years. And like across this, Charlestown, which is right, it's a walk away, right? So his son grew up around here. His dad was working here his whole childhood, and now he's on the Boston Bruins. Like, it's just, those are the stories that you live for around here, and they're just the best, and I love them.
Tricia, I know that obviously you've got a lot of passion for TD Garden and Boston, but I know one of the things you're very passionate about is a little side hustle you have going. Tell me about, is it sunshine and seaweed?
It sure is.
Tell us about that.
Don't tease me. You know what? This is when you have to find the things that you enjoy to fuel you, right? Like just find the things that bring you joy. And this is a COVID project though, too. Me and my sister decided that our favorite neighborhood down the Cape, that's what we say around here, Cape Cod, down the Cape needed their own t-shirt line. So that's what we came up with. It's Sunshine and Seaweed. You can follow us on Instagram, and we sell t-shirts and sweatshirts and some designs for it. But we get a kick out of it.
So fun.
My family loves it. The neighbors love it. And it brings us joy. So find the stuff that fuels you. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Hey, before we let you go, I want to hit you with our Fast Five. It's 5 quick questions, just looking for your quick, instant response.
Yep.
First up, what was your very first concert?
New Kids on the Block. Come on, I'm a Boston kid. Yes.
What was your favorite? How about your favorite concert?
Oh, I just came from Taylor Swift this weekend, guys. I have to say her. But Pearl Jam might be up there, only because I hung out with Eddie Vedder until about 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's a whole other story for another podcast.
Yep.
What's one word that you use that your friends always hear your Boston accent when you say it?
Ooh, the Garden.
The Garden.
Do you know how many times I had to do my voicemail? This is Tricia McCorkle at the TD Garden.
Garden.
I swear this question was on the list before I knew your first concert. But knowing you're from Boston, who's your favorite member of NKOTB?
Joey McIntyre. Full circle moments. They came back that tour. This was amazing. Like I used to have the buttons, the big as your head on your jacket. Like it was incredible.
Last question. There's a reality TV show all about your life. Cameras follow you around all the time. What is the theme song for that show? What is the song that plays over the opening credits to the Tricia McCorkle show?
Oh, man. I might have to go with like Cheers. Everybody knows your name.
Very
There you go. That's
appropriate.
great. Absolutely. Hey, I really appreciate the time. Anything you want to plug? Any social media websites? Not that you need the help, but anything that you want to plug while we got you here?
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you. You can catch me on LinkedIn at any time. And then I'm going to plug the TD Garden. Please follow along. We're having a lot of fun here. So TD Garden on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all the places. But thank you guys. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, we appreciate you sharing your adventure. And a big thanks to everybody for listening to this episode of Adventures in Venueland. Remember, you can subscribe and find more episodes wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We do love your 5-star reviews. It does help other people find us. Until the next adventure, I'm Dave Rettelberger.
And I'm Paul Hooper. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm going to go park my car in the Harvard Yard. That was a terrible accent. Oh, my God. Adventures in Venueland is a side project of the Event and Arena Marketing Conference, a nonprofit organization bringing together people in the field of live entertainment to discuss marketing, publicity, and sales trends. Find out more at eventarenamarketing.com.
Audio editing and mixing by Camille Faulkner.
Design and digital advertising by Megan Ebeck.
Copywriting and publicity by Samantha Marker.
Guest booking and brand strategies by Paul Hooper.
Guest research by Dave Rettelberger.
Marketing strategies by Paul Hooper, Megan Ebeck, and Samantha Marker. Thanks for joining us. Until the next adventure.